What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back with another video, and today I'm going to be talking about TSN trade bait. They put out how many names here? I've got it on my phone. 15 names, the top 15 trade bait that could be traded this season, the early trade bait board. Now, if you guys have been following this channel since it started, every time that TSN puts out their trade bait board, I usually go over it. Now, in my opinion, I'm not sure, I'd have to look back. I believe this is the earliest that they've put one out, and I'm guessing it's because William Nylander is out there right now, and I'm recording this on Saturday, November 3rd, so if some of these statistics, or if some of these guys get moved, or if they sign, whatever, I apologize, but I can't predict the future. I say that all the time because people will be in the comments saying, but Nylander just signed with the Leafs. Guys, I get it, okay? I can't tell the future. So if you're not watching this on Saturday, November 3rd, then, and something's changed, I apologize. But that's just how it's got to be. 15 names on here. Sometimes they do 25, I believe it was. I believe one time it was 30 as well. I've done this, I think this is the third or fourth time. Never this early, like I said, and I'll probably update this as the season goes on, because towards the trade deadline, that's when they will do their official like top 25 or top 30 trade bait. So we'll go through the names anyways. Like I said, I've got it on my phone. We'll just talk about some of the names. Leave your stuff down below if you guys want to you know, talk about maybe some trades that will happen if you feel some of these guys could get moved. I won't talk too much about everybody, but we'll just go through it, every type of player, and see what's going on here. Anyways, if you're new, make sure to subscribe. Love to have more hockey conversations with you. It just takes a second. It would really help. A lot of people have been coming on board, so I appreciate it. But let's get to it. I'll pull it up for you guys right now so we can kind of go through it together, and if you don't want to stay for the whole video, that doesn't bother me, but if you'd like to hear my opinion, that'd be cool. So, we'll just start at the bottom. Wayne Simmonds. This has been a guy that's been in the rumors for quite some time because Philadelphia is a good team, and some feel that his cap hit is you know, pretty decent for what he's at, but he is a UFA after the season. His cap hit currently is just under $4 million at 3.98, and I mean, I guess he could be expendable as a rental, especially if Philly is not a playoff team by the deadline, although it's been said that they'd like to keep him around. So I'm not sure if they would be like, okay, maybe we'll trade him and then tell him in the offseason we'll bring him back on. That's kind of a rare thing that happens a lot in baseball. Well, it's been discussed a lot in baseball. I mean, the most recent one I can think of is Aroldis Chapman. I believe he was dealt by the Yankees maybe, and then he signed again back there in the offseason. I can't remember. I'd have to go back and look at that. But regardless, this would be surprising to me. I'm not sure if he would be a guy who gets traded. And again, this is super early, so these are teams that either players have been in the rumors as they've been, you know, healthy scratches, or teams who have been off to a bad start, or just guys who have just been straight up in the rumors for, you know, requesting trades or this, that, and the other. So this is something you're going to hear a lot, but there are a lot of LA Kings players on here. Kyle Clifford's on here, left winger, again, LA with that bad start. He's got 1 year left, and he's got $1.6 million AAV. That's his cap hit. Again, really cheap. Again, through 9 games played this year. Again, as I'm recording this, he only has like 2 or 3 points. So that's the thing. Some of these players early on don't have a lot of points. It's going to be hard to really tell what their value would be like if it was, you know, towards like an actual trade deadline. But you're going to see a lot of guys from LA on here just based off the fact that they've had a pretty poor start. Who knows, they could pick it back up, but with Jonathan Quick out for a significant amount of time, it's not looking like they're going to be that great. Zach Kassian's on here. This is a guy that we've heard a lot about. He still does have 1 year left, $1.95 million. He said that he wants to stick around, and it's been said that Edmonton would like to hold on to him. They kind of looked out there and seen if there were any trade partners, but, you know, he did say he would like to stick around, and I hope the best for Zach Kassian. I know he wants to stay as an Oiler, and the fans really do appreciate that when a player just straight up wants to stay. So we'll have to see what happens. I would think that he's going to stay and that he really shouldn't be on this. Next is Charles Udall. Even with Montreal's hot start, Now you're going to see maybe Bergevin make some moves where he's like, okay, well, I can kind of get rid of this guy to maybe bolster this team a little bit. Even when, Weber comes back, this team could be even better. We don't know. Montreal's off to a really good start, and Udall's young. He's only 24. He's on an entry-level contract. He's a restricted free agent. I'm not sure why they would want to move him. I don't watch too many Montreal games. I do when I can. He's having a decent start to the year with 2 goals and 3 assists. But again, this one's kind of weird. Or no, that's just... Oh, sorry. He only has 3 points total. Yeah, he only has 3 points total. So he hasn't gotten into too many games, just 7, I guess. But regardless, I read that wrong. I thought that they were showing assists here too. It's just points, goals and points. But entry-level contract, maybe he's expendable for Montreal. Vlad Nemestikov, I'm hoping I'm saying that correctly. I know who this guy is, but I've been corrected for his name before, but I'm pretty sure it's Nemestikov. 25 years old, and has 3 points so far this season at a $4 million cap hit for 1 more season. This is a guy that has a lot of potential from what I've watched, and I'm sure what a lot of people would agree that he does have some decent potential. Whether or not he gets moved by the Rangers, I'm not sure. He could be a rental if he does pick up the way he's playing. Well, not really a rental, but kind of a couple season rental, because I believe he only does have like 1 more year left on his deal. I'm not positive. I think that's what it says. Yeah, he has 1 more year left. And he's again, it's a young talent that has potential. If the Rangers are really, retooling and stuff like that, I would figure they'd want to hold on to a younger guy like this. But if he underperforms and they feel they can't use him, maybe he gets moved. Artemi Panarin, this guy at number 10. I respect TSN for not putting him in the top 3 or even at number 1, because at this point it's looking kind of like everything is calmed down and there's not really many trade rumors surrounding Artemi Panarin. So having him at number 10 feels like a decent spot for him. Although I would have him probably in the top 8 at least. If Columbus doesn't do something, great this year, he is a UFA. At $6 million this season as his cap hit, that's going to go up. He's a great player. He's at least an 80-point player, probably for the rest of his career, until he hits the decline. But he's still young. I mean, young, I guess. He's 27. Still got a lot of scoring left in him. We'll have to see what happens, but it's going to be interesting, because if there's another guy in this list we're going to talk about from Columbus, which you probably already know, the goaltender you obviously know, but they're going to have some tough decisions to make. And number 8 is Tyler Myers. Now, Winnipeg, a lot of people will ignore it because, I mean, the media basically only focuses when Toronto's in cap trouble. And, they do get a lot of media coverage. We do know that. But the Winnipeg Jets could be in trouble. They've got a lot of contracts that they have to deal with as well. And maybe I'll make that a video and maybe get a Winnipeg fan in here, or just discuss it myself with maybe even another YouTuber. I don't know. But he is a defenseman. And teams need defensemen. Let's be real here. There's a lot of teams that could use a good defenseman, and Myers could definitely bring a lot of good to certain teams. I know that there's been some battles back and forth with him in the Winnipeg Jets, but he would, of course, like to be a Winnipeg Jet. That team is incredible. $5.5 million, but he will be a UFA, so I can't see Winnipeg dealing him, and I think that there was something said on Sportsnet or TSN recently that said, we can't see him getting moved, but it is a strong possibility that if Winnipeg feels like, hey, listen, this guy is showing us that he's gonna leave, I don't know. But they're going to a cup run probably this year, so why would you get rid of somebody that's gonna help you get there? And number 8, Brett Pesce. Am I saying that right? Or I've been corrected with certain names, and then I go and look it up, and I'm like, okay, I was saying it right. Is it Brett Pesce? From Carolina. You guys know he's a defenseman, very young. He's played in, I believe they've only played in 12 games, so if I'm wrong, he's played in every game so far, but I could be wrong. Has 3 points, 5 more years left at $4 million. Now, a lot of people are saying that this could be a piece of the Leafs explore trading him. I would think that it would have to be him plus, because, I mean, we're talking William Nylander here. We'll get to that later on, but the weird trade proposals that people are coming up with are hilarious. Like the one that we see quite often is Nylander for Falk. Guys, Falk has been a minus defenseman every year except for 1 season. Like last year, he was like a minus 26 and Jake Gardiner was a plus 9. Like, Come on, guys. Let's be real here. But regardless, getting back to Brett here, a defenseman, very young at 23, with a great deal. If he turns out to be better than he already is, which most expect that he'll get better, that would be a very, very team-friendly contract for a solid defenseman in that top four. So, again, I don't know if Carolina is ready to make a move right now for, you know, a young defenseman for another forward, regardless of who it is. But I'm sure that that would be a name that would be discussed because that contract's pretty sweet. Next, like I mentioned earlier, Sergei Bobrovsky from the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, he hasn't had the best start to his season, but he's going to make a lot of money. And there's people throwing around that he would want price money. I don't know if he should get that much. That's like, what, $10 million, $9 million, something like that. I thought, why am I thinking the AAV was like 10.5? If I'm incorrect, I apologize, but regardless, if he's getting paid almost $8 million now, that's going to go up. With the cap going up in cap percentage, that dollar amount's going to go up because Bobrovsky is a proven great goaltender. Now, if he just has an awful season this year, it's going to be hard for teams to really go out there and get him, but there's been a lot of rumors, and I know Sportsnet posted it the other day, and it scared me because it said, like, fake trade, and then it was, like, Bobrovsky going to Calgary. And for a split second, I'm like, okay, if this was real, this makes sense. Like, if anything, Calgary should be a team that would go after a good goaltender. I mean, Mike Smith is just, he's hot and cold. So, and their young goaltenders are not ready yet, and those young goaltenders would be expendable for a trade if you were going after Bobrovsky. I mean, sorry. Bobrovsky with that Calgary blue line and their offense, if it keeps picking up the way that they, you know, they look like they're getting going, like Lindholm looks great, that could be a scary team. So we'll have to see what happens. There would have to be a lot of cap going back and forth because Calgary's kind of strapped, and I think so is Columbus. But we'll have to get back to that, and maybe I'll make a video on it. Next is Tanner Pearson. Again, more LA Kings players. Through 11 games played, he has 1 point. 2 more years at just under $4 million at 3.75. That would be tough to move, but at the same time, with a better team, maybe a better fit. And this is super early, but it could work. Having him at number 6 kind of surprises me. I haven't heard too much about him. And again, I'm not claiming I'm an insider. I just mean like reading articles from reliable sources and stuff like that. I haven't heard too much, so I'm not going to say too much because I'm not really sure if he's a name that would get moved. Same with Gustav Nyquist in Detroit. He is a UFA, just under $5 million cap hit. He has 9 points to start the year, 1 goal and 8 assists. So he could be definitely a guy that gets moved at the deadline if they feel like they need to. Oh, Nyquist probably be pretty upset unless they got somebody significant back for him. Probably nothing too crazy. He is 29. A lot of teams are just looking to make their team younger because of teams like Toronto, teams like Winnipeg, you know, young teams like Vancouver. All these young stars, people are like, okay, we really got to follow that, and we got to make our team pretty young. So I don't know if Detroit would want to let go of him for, you know, a younger player that is unproven yet, to try to see if maybe he'll fit in Detroit's system, but we'll have to see. You know, towards the end of the season, Detroit isn't really starting that well, so that would be an interesting name to look at. At number 4 is Alec Martinez, another defenseman. He only has 3 points to start the year, but again, $4 million for the next 2 years. That's a pretty decent contract. And again, LA has been another team tied to any of these teams looking for a defenseman. Alec Martinez probably would be a decent fit on a team. He would have to be involved with something else. If you are trading a guy like Nylander or something like that, you'd have to give up more because it just doesn't make sense to trade you know, a young forward for a 31-year-old defenseman who hasn't provided much this season. And it's not just points, even just defensively. LA is just not making sense right now. All their guys are just not working together. We'll have to see. It could pick back up, like I said, but it's going to be tough. But that's an interesting name to look at as well, another defenseman up there. Matt Zuccarello, we're getting into a couple ranges here. I'll just tie them together. Zuccarello and Hayes at 3 and 2. Both, you know, Zuccarello's 31, Hayes is 26. putting up some decent points to start the year. Zuccarello has 10 points. He's a UFA this offseason, $4.5 million cap hit. And you got Kevin Hayes, who's got a cap hit of $5.18 million, and he's also a UFA. Those would be two interesting names. You could probably get quite a bit back for Zuccarello. A lot of teams looking for scoring forwards, although he is 31. He would probably be more suited as a rental because he might look for a 4 or 5 year deal as probably one of his, his last at least decent contract in the NHL. Because if he gets 5 years, that probably takes him to what, 36, 37 years old, depending on when his birthday is. And then after that, you're getting like 2 or 3 year deals that are probably not as good unless you're continuing to put up a ton of points. So it would be really interesting to see if the Rangers are really involved in retooling this roster to the point where they're going to sell off pretty much their entire team for now, except for Lundqvist. I guess they want to hold on to the King for longer, but it'll be interesting to see. And then at number 1, of course, William Nylander, who hasn't played this season. Hopefully he's signing as I'm recording this. As you guys can tell if you're new to the channel, I am a Leaf fan, but I am realistic. There have been trade rumors out there. It looks like the Leafs aren't interested in trading him, but as the time goes on and as we get closer to December 1st, and if he does not have a deal, a contract, then Dubas would be forced probably to move him. They want to win this year, and it's not, it's not a stupid thing to say that the Leafs could get, if Nylander signs and Matthews comes back healthy, we're going to knock on wood for both of those things to happen. The Leafs are going to be looking to buy at the deadline. I'm not sure they're going to buy into, going after a top elite, player in the league unless the deal's right, because those deals are tough. But the Leafs are going to be looking to buy at the deadline, and having a full roster with guys like Nylander, guys like Matthews, whoever, you're not looking to trade a young piece. So him being at the top here makes sense. He is obviously a guy who doesn't have a contract right now, so we'll have to see what happens. But this is very early. Like I said, I'm filming this on Saturday, November 3rd. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. It's just an update on the TSN trade bait board. I will update it towards the deadline season. I love to do rumor videos and stuff like that, because if you do like these rumor videos, there's a lot more of them coming. I've talked to a lot of people. I'm trying to get a gauge on of what everybody likes, and a lot of people like when I talk about the rumor stuff more. And the thing is, with rumor pieces, I talk more about legitimate stuff that actually is being discussed by real people, real sources, nothing from this rumor break Twitter crap. I go and I read articles or I listen to stuff where it's like, okay, this actually has some momentum behind it, and I deliver it in a video. And you guys probably heard it, but I like to give my opinion on it. So if you're new, make sure you subscribe. Love to have more hockey conversations with you. Join the squad. Hopefully you guys like the new ticker that's on the bottom of the screen. It shows you guys where you guys can follow me, links and all that stuff like that. All that's also down below if you want to check that out. I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Peace.